Welcome, everyone, to your Inner Dickhead show. I am enjoyed by my panel of elite dickheads, Laura, Dale, and David. Welcome, everyone. Today we are talking about our inner dickhead, how they fuck our life up, and how we can be a dickhead back to our inner dickheads. We're here to discover what our inner dickhead does and why it does it, and to understand how to tame it in such a way where it does not run your life, but understand what its unique purpose is there in life. Laura, Dale, David, where do you guys want to start?
Well, this is definitely a hard subject, isn't it?
Yes. Who's going to own up to having an inner dickhead? Because, come on, we've all had, and I think I still have in there somewhere, an inner dickhead. Even I do work on it, but these inner dickheads have a habit of showing themselves up, don't they? Or showing you up.
I totally don't have any inner dickheads.
So let's start with the
And F you guys for even suggesting it. And F you guys for even suggesting it. Damn it.
All right.
Yes.
So let's start with a definition of what our inner dickhead is. Dale, let's start with you.
So an example would be overscheduling yourself so you're burnt out. And we had this conversation last year, I think it was, Andrew, or I can't remember when it was, but we were both laughing because we were tired. We had quite a lot of sessions of doing a lot of things.
Just before the tour.
That was it, just before the tour. And you said to me, we need to speak to these dickheads, don't we? And reschedule and have words with them. Then I had like pattern recognition. I was like, holy fuck, that dickhead does schedule for me. So moving forward, I saw the Inner Dickhead program come out of me and want to work, do. And I literally had to start counseling this dickhead. And when I started properly into my journey just before COVID, I kind of went on spirituality, fell off, went on. And there was a moment where like you said yesterday on the phone, where I was pissing myself laughing. I actually made a contract with this inner dickhead, like a full contract. And I said, you know what? I'm not fucking giving up now. I'm do, and I'm going to make my way. And I did the Talking Stick show. So the inner dickhead did help. And you were talking about this yesterday, that sometimes the inner dickhead can actually help us, and it can be a good thing. So there's a negative and positive. And obviously we all know what a dickhead is, don't we, everyone listening? And we all can see those personalities sometimes come through us when we make stupid ass choices.
So example, how it helped you is it held you accountable for not doing and being lazy. Okay?
Yes.
You need an inner dickhead to do that. You need an inner whip cracker. You need some of that to do. But then it got to the point you started succeeding, and it was still on the fact that you don't do nothing. It started guilt tripping you.
Yes.
Into doing. Okay? That's where it turned feral on you. Yeah, uncontrollable.
Andrew, I did see that in the contract. That contract I had, I didn't talk. So he's a dickhead for doing it because I didn't agree to that.
Yeah. Laura, we've talked about the do in you, and we could recreate the word do as dickhead. How's that affected you, and what did it take for you to identify it in you?
Yeah, so that's where the inner dickhead really helped me. Yes. How did I identify it? Well, you helped a lot with that, because it's sometimes the inner dickheads are very subtle, aren't they?
Yes.
But it's I think what people call an inner saboteur, isn't it? So it was saboteuring my life, and it got to such an extent that it created situations for me which weren't great at the time, but looking back, like you're saying, have helped me. So
Laura, when did you allow the dick in then? Can you remember when?
Look at what you just said. Listen to what you just said. Listen to what
he couldn't help himself there, David. He's been waiting for that one.
You see?
The other day when we were talking about the show, we must have had 12, 15 moments where I was saying something but unintentionally came off the wrong way.
Yeah.
My man, when you telling people to rearrange their drawers, that you're going to rearrange their drawers for you, and you wonder why it is you get bad press, right?
So Laura, when did the inner dick come in?
Yeah. Go on.
I think it's always been there, probably. It's conditioning from childhood. I did do a lot of work on this in the end. I traced it back. I had a father who was always doing stuff. He was like chairman of 18 different committees when he was 89. The guy would never sit still. I grew up with that. And he did some great things, but I felt guilty for sitting still. So I thought that when I got up in the morning, I had to do something. As Andrew knows, I used to ask him work questions at 8 o'clock in the morning before he even had his coffee, which is not how you treat your guests. But so I had to do the journaling of it, and I had to look back to it being possibly a childhood trauma, a program that was in me that wouldn't let me slow down, which, as I had to learn to slow down. I've had to really make the effort and call it out every time I see it. It's like, do, because if I don't call it out, then these guys here are going to call it out for me.
Oh, this is so good. I love this.
But we do, though. We do call out each other's inner dickheads.
We call out each other's dicks all the time. Yes.
Come on. I suppose you're going to go to me next, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
He's gone. I don't know where he is.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes, I'm muted. Sorry, you're the next dick in line, David.
Yes.
Okay. My inner dickhead does stupid things to me. It tells me that I'm being too harsh when it is that people resurface in your life. It's like it draws dicks in my direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's a dick. It's a dick right there in front of you, right? But then you say, it might not be a dick. It might be something else.
Might be a
right?
cunt.
It might not be. It might be a dick, and even though it's clearly a dick, right? It's like, what am I gonna do? Like, if I say "be gone," phallus curse, right? If I say "be gone," phallus curse, it makes me feel like I'm being a bad person. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, you know me well enough to know that, right? It makes me feel like I'm being a bad person, but it's clearly a dick. And then I say, you know what? Give the dick a chance.
And then you get dicked over.
And I wonder, I say, give the dick a chance, and I'm wondering why I am fucked at the end of it, right?
So David, your inner dickhead likes to send you dick pics.
Correct. I don't get it. Like, it's clearly a dick. There's no way around it. It's got like the hair and never mind, right? now I am going to be looking at people, and all I'm going to be seeing is phalluses everywhere.
What about you, Andrew? Have you got an inner dick?
Oh, fuck yeah. My inner dickhead, he's a dual dickhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
What sort of things go on?
The overscheduler, overworker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the you're not spiritual enough. Motherfucker. I do 40, 50 hours a week of spiritual. How much more do I got to do? Okay. Okay. So it's generally the overworker program. And then there's I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to do anything. That's my dickhead making me an introvert. Okay.
I have that one too.
Yes. We would have told you had, David, if you hadn't have volunteered that piece of information. My dickhead would have told your dickhead.
Just forward with it, because I know that is somewhere in the show you're gonna be taxing me on it. So.
I'm naturally an outgoing, very caring person, and I enjoy being around people. But when you get super exposed to doing 40 sessions, 50 sessions in a month, you don't want to be around people that have the slightest bit of pollution on them. Mm-hmm. The slightest bit. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's very few people around that are like that. Okay. So it's like, okay, just go to your room, do this, do that, go do something by yourself, read a book, write stories, and next thing you know, shit, I got to get out and go do something. Okay, and then it finds a way to retask me back to doing something that's introvertish. Okay, and then dealing with others who I have an inner dickhead that may come out every now and then when I roast someone, where I won't take their garbage and their bullshit. I won't let them woe is me and dump on me like I'm just a garbage dump to put their shit on. I won't let that happen. Okay? Period. So it's a defensive tool also.
And then you can get two dickheads who are arguing, can't you?
Sure. Dual dicking.
Sword fighting.
Laura, you have two dicks in your head arguing.
No, I was actually meaning one person's dickhead and another person's dickhead. So yes, you can have two dickheads inside you who are arguing about something, but also your dickhead can engage someone else's dickhead.
Sure. We do that with family and friends all the time.
Yes, and that's how arguments come about, isn't it? And so on. Because I suppose what really we're doing is giving away power to the program, aren't we?
For the most part. And then there comes to a moment where, do I need my inner dickhead? Yeah, he gets my shit done. Okay. Okay. When I don't want to do it, whine, moan, complain, whine, moan, complain, and he slaps me across the face, I get up and go.
That's this vision.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to go back and start destroying this dickhead and making him evaporate. Then Andrew was like, no, you can't do that. Just start shaving him off, like cutting him down a little bit.
Shaving him
you
off.
need just counseling this dick.
So,
listen. Go ahead, Laura.
I was just going to say, I remember Andrew talking once about retasking the ego. It's not to get rid of the ego. It's when it's not appropriate, you need to retask it. And I guess this is the same with inner dickhead, isn't it? It's retasking it.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of ways.
How do you retask compassion, though?
Well, you
that's boundaries, isn't it?
Relearn it. You completely have to relearn it. If you've lost compassion, you have to learn it from ground zero again.
Or did you mean too much compassion?
Both. Because my inner dickhead, my inner dick is schizophrenic, right? You might, right? There's complete compassion, and then there's sometimes especially when I gotta get shit done.
Yeah, this apathy. Yeah, it goes to apathy.
Like especially when I gotta get shit. And Andrew's seen it. It's like, oh, somebody's dying. Oh, but I just have to finish this sentence, right? Like, what the hell are you doing, right? What the hell are you doing? Like, snap out of it, David. And I'm like, snap out of it, right? And then there are times when it's like, that person is a dick. You know that person is a dick, but then the inner dick comes in and tells you, no, that's really not a dick. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? It's not a dick? And I see how stupid I am. Right? I see how stupid I am. And afterwards, you just feel like all dicked out,
Too much dick.
Is that inner conversation, that inner argument, is that like a heart-mind thing? Is that like heart-mind v program? What parts of us are arguing? I mean, we've called them two inner dicks, but what part of us is arguing? That's a question.
I honestly think that for me, if I have to be honest, the dick has what's forming the dick, right, is developmental stuff. So how we were raised comes into play, right? So as an example, in my case, it's like I have two warring factions. One is more like from a martial arts background, which is like slay everything in your path, get the shit done. Okay. And then there's the other part that grew up at a TM center where compassion is your first response to everything. Right? Compassion is supposed to be your first response. And so at moderate levels, it's fine because they agree at moderate levels, get shit done, but help other people and so on. And then whenever there's a crisis, an external event that is causing a crisis, especially when there's something to be done, one just pushes the other one aside. Yeah, just get out of the way. Shit needs to get done.
Take charge.
So imagine, you can imagine this dildo waving its way forward. Yes, right. So this is basically what happens. So there's developmental stuff, and then there is the stress of the situation that is causing triggers to happen. Yeah.
Well, it's like for me, it's ancestral karma because my father had a lot of dickhead tendencies when I grew up, and I saw him be a dickhead quite a lot. Even though he's a brilliant guy and a great guy, it felt like that's how he grew up. And we came into that age where people were working like 50 hours, and I actually remember myself where my dickhead was formed as well was work. When I worked in a restaurant as a manager, 60 hours a week, I had to be a dickhead to do that job. I literally had to 12 hours a day doing this, doing that. It was innately, I had to allow the dickhead just to take over me or I wouldn't have been able to do it. I wouldn't have been able to do that job. And this is what we find time and time again, people in jobs where it's shit and they overwork themselves and they have to allow the dickhead just to take over so they can actually have that drive to keep going in the slave mode. I remembered that now. I got deja vu from my restaurant days then when you were saying that, David.
So I want to add another perspective. I think there's a left brain dick, a right brain dick, and a heart dick. So there's three.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your heart deals with the traumas, and the left brain and right brain tries to dominate how to operate with the traumas. Dealing with the trauma and operating are two different things. Okay. The heart's trying to deal, but oftentimes it will defer to the brain, the left brain creativity to outcreate it or get stuck in depression. And then the right brain, which is do something, anything that isn't repetition. And oftentimes you get stuck in repetition because the heart's level of confusion, because the heart's being the dick, forcing you to go through something you're just not ready for. Okay. But that also represents the strength of the trauma. Okay. How it emerges out of us. And it takes on a solidity and a hardness. Ha ha ha.
So, Andrew, is that when you're talking about I've had it before, not now, but back when I started to listening to my body and I asked my heart the question and it gives me a bit of a dick answer, which I needed, but I was literally like, I don't like that at all.
Yeah. Because it was challenging the program.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Challenging the program.
And sometimes there is like a trickster energy with the dickhead as well, isn't there?
Correct, Laura.
That's the nature of the dickhead.
Yes. Yeah, but that long term, that can help you face up to something that you're not facing.
Yeah, but I think that to a certain extent, dickheadedness is a survival mechanism for a lot of people. So as an example, if you are in a situation like, let's say a woman is badly treated in a marriage, right? And she's from a traditional background, that dickhead has to come out for her to come out of that place, right? So you might say it's just anger, but if that person has been traditionally brought up, traditionally trained, she probably went to Catholic school for the Catholics in here, and they say, no divorce, no divorce. You literally have to say F you to the man, to your parents, to the church, to the wedding ring that's around your finger, that has been around your finger for God knows how long, like a ball and a chain. You got to say F you to everybody. You literally have to say fuck the world, okay? For you to come out, and it requires a dickhead to do that. It does.
Yeah, I think from the outside, other people will say, he or she are being a bit of a dickhead, but
Correct.
Without realizing that in that case, the inner dickhead is actually giving you the courage to do it.
Correct.
And it may not be courage. It just might be using the anger to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people use that as a survival mechanism because let's face it, the dickheadedness wouldn't exist if it didn't have a use. Yeah,
That's right.
it wouldn't exist if it didn't have a use. And then there's the situations where you get involved with dick controversy. Okay, I'm going to say this, and you guys are not going to like it. Like all these gurus in India, like we call them sannyasis. They get up and they say, "Enough of all this dickery. I am now going to live the life of a sannyas." He doesn't realize, meaning that a hermit, right, who goes up into the caves and so on. These men get up and they leave their families and they go live in caves, right? So even at the enlightened level, there's an enlightened dickhead, apparently, right?
Yes.
Who says, you know what, home, right? And walks out the door and does not come back.
Until we find out what's actually in the cave, and it's not a barren cave; it's a pleasure cave.
Right. He's got his dicks hanging up on the wall. Right? No.
Tantra party.
And the thing about it is that even in normal religions, you've heard of the prosperity preachers. You know what prosperity preachers are.
Pure
right?
dickheads.
That is okay. So a prosperity preacher is like a priest or pastor who preaches about prosperity. So if you give me $50 donation, I'll pray for you, and then you'll be more prosperous. And then you'll be more prosperous. Like, it doesn't get more dickhead than that. And they tell you, I have this $65 million jet, and I have this and that and whatever else. And I'm like, you're literally telling your audience the shit that you're buying with their money that they're going to
Yes.
so that you pray for them. Like, Jesus Christ, Andrew.
David, I can't get my head around, you know, when people say about donations and you'll go on a website and we go, this is a donation based £50 donation, but it's not a fucking donation. You're like, it's like, just say it's 50 quid, but they have to say donation. It's like, stop being a dickhead. Just say it's £50. Like,
no, the dickhead part is when I show you what I buy with your £50 that's giving me pleasure, and then you still pay me another £50. So you're being a dickhead, I'm being a dickhead. Dickhead is everywhere. Dick, fields and fields of dicks. Right? Right? I don't understand that. Actually, at that point in time, you move from the dick level to the opposite level. Right?
What's that? What's that called?
See you next Tuesday. Cunt level.
Okay.
We got a good statement from Judy Namath in
Yes.
the chat room.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to swallow was looking back and seeing the thing I needed to get through the trauma is what I had to let go of to get to the other side of healing it.
Mm.
And yes, we need a hard ass, a dickhead in us to put it up into our face and go, hey, if you don't deal with this, it's going to get serious.
Mm.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Part of that dickheaded energy is I call it a fuse. It's a trip. It's a trip wire that happens in your head, right? That says, if you don't deal with this, I'm dealing with this. Okay? Right? And if you don't deal with this, I'm going to make sure that you don't stop me from dealing with it either. So I've literally seen people who've tried to suppress the dick energy instead of integrating it, which is a very important thing to do. They try to suppress it, and all of a sudden, the dick just flies up and remove. It just flies up and removes their will in the situation. Just moves them to one side and just takes possession of them. And they start to act in ways that they normally would not. Okay? It's like a personality that has been suppressed that comes out, and it forces them to do that. It's like a possession, really.
Yeah.
But it gets the job done, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, I just remembered then, like, so when I started doing quite all those years back, when I did do a lot of inner work, but I never kept a schedule where I was doing 6 days a week constantly, and I did for years and years. But there was a point where I had to bring that dickhead in to get me to do the inner work. So all of a sudden, the kids or Gabrielle or something would want me, and I'd just have to say, no, this is my dick. I'm going to be a dickhead. I've got to go up and do that. The kids are absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine. And I had to turn it on literally every day until I did, say, a few years of 6 days a week work on myself. But that inner dickhead helped me. I wouldn't have been able to do it without that dickhead. Like, it literally got me up and fucking made me do that inner work. I was like, right, let's do this, bitch.
Just you and your dick by yourself in your little isolated space.
But then you got to like your inner dickhead because he motivated you.
That's it, Andrew. Yeah.
Everyone's got a friend that's a dickhead. Okay.
Yeah.
It is, and because there's a certain level of dickheadedness we can accept. Okay.
Yeah.
But in Dale's sense, he just said it. I wouldn't be where I was without that. The same with mine, and Laura's and David's. We wouldn't be where we're at without them. They are vital tools. It's when they become feral and uncontrollable, and they take over your personality and dominate conversations and enable the arrogance of ego to take over.
They become destructive.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Got to do the snippety snip.
So I went to a cacao ceremony last night.
And?
Okay.
Did
There was a lady who was at the cacao ceremony, and you can tell when people are in pain. Okay, sometimes the body screams and so on. And I, for the first part of the cacao ceremony, was ignoring it because I know what's going to happen. I can't help it. I have a reflex to help. So I literally am scooting my chair around so that I don't have to look in a direction, right? I'm scooting my chair around so I don't have to look in a direction. Then she starts to speak, and then I say something along the lines of, a question was asked her about, how she wants to feel. And that was the wrong question, because when people are encumbered and you ask them, how do you want to feel? They usually don't know because they're under a cloud, right? However, I'm like, I know this, and I'm trying to hold it in, and I'm holding it in. This is the possession that I'm talking about. And then something trips you off, and before you could catch it, I have to buy clothespins for my freaking lips, okay? You say, how don't you want to feel? And I'm like, what did you just do, David? Right? And so she's, what did you just do? Right? How don't you want to feel? And then the flood came out. You understand, Andrew? Because I just wanted to enjoy the cacao ceremony. Right? So dickhead number 1 is selfish, and dickhead number 2 is also selfish. You see the problem?
Yes.
Right? But
So that dickhead that took over the moment, from a mental aspect of mechanics, did it override your free will?
Temporarily, yes, because it came out too fast.
What neural pathways had to be created for that dickhead to do that?
That's a good point. That's a good question. That's
why we're doing shows like this, because there's some cool things we can illuminate about our own brain and the way we create shit that overwhelms us.
Because there is a reflex to help and heal. Okay.
Yep.
This has been hard coded from a very young age. I have spent 20-something years trying to control that reflex. So when I see people in pain, I have literally had to run away and scurry away like a little boy, okay, to avoid certain situations which, Andrew, you know about.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I've had to run away and avoid because I see people in pain, and they inside their minds, I could see the mountains that they've created. Right. And I'm like, I could probably help you with that, but I know the result is going to be disadvantageous for me. Okay.
Okay.
And so self-preservation kicks in, which is a kind of dickheadedness in and of itself, right? When it comes to self-preservation kicks in, and then you run away, right? But then the universe has a sixth sense of humor, as you know, because between me and you, we are connoisseurs of dicks. Okay?
You like to smoke a dick.
We are connoisseurs of dicks, okay? So I am like, so you run away, and the universe has this sense of humor. Like you could run away in this direction, and the universe will take that person and somehow position themselves directly in front of you, like, oh shit! Like I was just running away from you. Well, how are you in front of me? Right? And so in that moment, when it is that you encounter the thing that you are running away from, right? If it happens quickly enough, stuff is going to come out of your mouth quickly. Okay? Yeah. So you're going to be like, I see your pain. Oh shit, I see your pain. Right? Right? Because a lot of people don't want to be seen. So there are two things I want to say here, right? We're talking about inner dickheads, Andrew. Let's talk about the universal dickhead. Let's talk about that for a moment.
Oh, yeah, the universal dickhead. Hold on. I want to finish one
avoid trouble. You are trying to avoid trouble, and right there it is. You try to run away.
So right? I want to finish the thing about the neural pathways it takes to override free will, because this will lead into why the universe is a dick. Okay? Yeah. It's a trigger point in reality when the universe puts something so weirdly unique in front of you that the overriding of free will happens here. We don't want to get engaged with them. Is it karma that pops us out? Is it a momentary lapse of inner dialogue becomes outer dialogue? Because there's a healing point for people to start with, like a flinch response. Like a lot of people who've been traumatized have a flinch response to touch. Okay? And the same thing's going to react when you find yourself where the universe has just put you in that tough situation where you want to maintain your free will and you don't want your inner dialogue to become outer dialogue.
Agreed.
Okay? So universe goes, all right, well, I'm going to put something in front of you that's going to challenge the inner dialogue to become outer dialogue. And you're going to bite your tongue till the tip of your tongue falls off. And then you've gone through all this pain, and the next thing you know, the words come out of your mouth anyways.
I had that with at a fire ceremony with a dog. So a dog came up to me. It was like pottering around. It was a really old dog. Came up to me and started speaking to me. And I could tell it was in like very much confusion. And as it was speaking to me, there was a dickhead part of me which wanted to tell the owner and speak to her. I had to literally force myself to shut up and stop doing it. Like there was a moment where this inner dickhead light worker started coming back, and I'm like, I fucking come a long way from that shit. Like I'm not doing this. And I guess it connects to when people try and give people information when it's not needed, or they try and go up to them, and then the inner dickhead just takes over them completely and says, look, you need to do this, or I recommend doing that. And that's something I've had to really stop myself from doing. And you know it as well, Laura, when we try and be that too light workery and stepping on people's journey over and over again, where you're overridden with it.
Yeah, but Dale, there's two things happening there. You're intuitive. So is Laura. So am I. And people don't realize how loud they are. Most people don't realize how loud they are. Look, seriously?
Yeah.
They don't realize how loud they are. They're loud. The pain inside of them is loud, very, very loud, right? They think, oh, you need some special sensitive scale sense to be able to feel what's inside. No, you're shouting at the top of your freaking lungs. Help me. A lot of the times, they're shouting. It's loud. And so you're in a room with a bunch of people, and then there's going to be one body in that room that's shouting at the top of its voice. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I'm a Reiki master. They'll probably shout.
Right. There's going to be one body in that thing that's going to be screaming pain or something like that. And then you're like, I gotta ignore it. Okay? Right? But then is you saying I gotta ignore it part of your dickheadedness, right? Because the jury is split on that in the metaphysical community. One strain of thought says, if you ignore it, you are being a dickhead, right? That I'm just talking about like theory. And then another strain of saying it says, you know what? That's their path in life. And then a third strain of says, well, if they ask you for help, then it's okay. But then you have to ask yourself, and this is just philosophical, how many people know how to ask for help or what to ask for?
Very few.
Yeah.
Yeah, very few. Yeah.
But what's happened to the authentic self in all of this? What's happened to our heart-mind connection, where we would normally go to get that authentic answer that we need? Because what we're talking about at the moment is we got a, like good cop dickhead and bad cop dickhead, haven't we, going on in
That's
a lot
that
of
left
this?
brain, right brain, heart triangle.
Okay.
That's your triangle of dickheads.
Right. Okay.
Who don't allow authentic truth.
Mm-hmm.
They want harsh truth.
Yep.
Not all authentic truth is harsh.
Well, couldn't you say, and this is going back to like thinking of me not entangling with people like that, would be going back to the sacred neutral point of view, because being a neutrality, you're not allowing yourself to be dicked, or you're not allowed to dick on someone. It's just kind of like I'm having a dick block, a cop block or something. If you get what I'm saying, like
Yes.
you go to that neutral where you're just like no dick, not allowing dick. Like,
Yeah.
Is that your mantra, Dale? No dick.
no dick.
Like,
That's the celibate Dale.
no dick.
And going back to what you were talking about, the universe, Andrew, and David was about the universe coming in. Is that something we've co-created on one level with the universe to give us that some of either that trickster energy, or to highlight to us something we need to be looking at?
So, does the universe have a sick sense of humor? Yes.
Yes.
Is that sick sense of humor karma, dharma,
Ah.
or something in between that we don't have a word for yet? Because if it's karma, it's presenting to you to resolve it. You don't know how to resolve it until you act or react to it. Okay? And then here's your level of responsibility to yourself. I cannot act and not engage the karma and move on to my dharmic path, but the universe is still having a sick sense of humor moment. Can I laugh at it without engaging it? What are my options of wiggling here? How can I have a sense of humor back with the universe and play with it in such a way that it doesn't put me down the harsh path of being a dickhead back or engaging in other, dickheadedness? Okay.
The problem is also a future problem as well, if you're looking at it from a point of tenses and so on. If you are to engage or encounter something, the universe will keep repeating until you get the point. The problem is you may know what an outcome is going to be. Okay? You may actively try to avoid the outcome. And just so that we're clear, there is something called a geographical cure. Okay? I took a geographical cure. Okay? Because I'm in the North Pole. I know no Jehovah's Witnesses are going to be knocking on my door. Okay? Right? I know, right? So there is something called a geographical cure. But look at it. You could run from now until doomsday. You could try to avoid a situation. And if the universe wants you to engage in that situation because it thinks that you need to grow from that situation, it's going to find you. Andrew can tell you that I traveled very far away from where I originally started, right? All the way clear up to where I could see Aurea Borealis. And trouble still found me even here. Okay? Right? You will laugh at that. People, can you imagine how much effort you have to put in? Energy that could make somebody track you to Aurea Borealis?
Yep.
And if it's not tracking you, it'll be online as well. You'll find them online. It's nowhere to hide.
Then, David, you discovered a whole new breed of dickheads when you got up there, too.
Correct.
They weren't your average Caribbean dickheads.
These were rare, almost extinct.
So what's the universe trying to tell you, David?
Stay home. Fall into bed with my teddy. Don't move. Watch Netflix. Oh shit! Right, there's nothing on Netflix, right?
Right.
It used to, listen. Running away in isolation is not what it used to be. I used to be able to stay home and watch Netflix and Amazon Prime. Can't find anything to watch there, so I might as well actually talk to people, don't I? So I went to a cacao ceremony. I went on, and the universe keeps putting things in my way. And for my life, as an example, like things are always acute. So let's say I avoid a situation for a year and I step outside my house. That situation is literally standing outside my house, right?
Yep.
Looking at me, say, hello, hi, we missed you. Where'd you go? Right? So you got to be very careful about playing the avoidance game. Okay? Because your inner dickhead is going to, and I think that is a great aspect, Laura, to answer your question. Because your inner dickhead is going to keep drawing shit to you like a manifestation tool. Everybody thinks, oh, I can't do magic. I'm not skilled enough. A whole bunch of people are doing magic every day, drawing bad shit to themselves. Okay? So there is that.
So the question is, David, when are you going to give in to that?
You know,
Allow the dick in.
You know, I know there's some subtext there considering the topic we're talking about. When am I going to give into that? Not this year. Oh, the year's about to end. What am I talking about, right?
It took over there.
Yeah, the year's about to end, right? What a day! What a day!
Well, so the universe is going to continue following you to the ends of the earth.
Literally,
to learn
to the ends of the earth.
Yes. For you to learn what?
Start taking
I suspect it is balance, and I say it is balance because a lot of us in the spiritual community live our lives cerebrally, right? Energy is always flowing up, right? And before you all don't even refute that, because a lot of people live, when you're in the spiritual community and you're doing spiritual work, it's not easy, and so you develop a kind of focus inside that says, I gotta do this, I'm doing this, right? And then you sometimes don't smell the roses. And that in and of itself, that focus, that determination is in and of itself part of the dickhead part of you, huh? And balance is what you need. A lot of us don't have that.
Well, you've got to find the balance with Dick and make sure that, like, even being aware of your friendship, like having, obviously we have that dickhead as a friend you grew up with, which you can tolerate, which has a level of dick to you. But it's like finding people around you who aren't dicks. Like, obviously having friends, cutting that down, but you will meet the dick. You'll see the dick outside and you'll have to have a conversation with them, but having responsibility to cut down the dick so it doesn't overpower you. And obviously don't allow so many dickheads into your life, people who just are dickheads all the time. And that's what a lot of people do. They just let them in.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we have that expression, he's a complete dick.
Yes.
Don't we?
Yeah, but it also said with an affection, it could have an affectionate term.
Yeah.
He's our dick.
He's our dick.
He's our dickhead.
Yes, that's true.
You're not going to fuck with our dickhead. We're going to defend our dickhead, okay?
Right.
Because he's ours. Yeah.
Because he's loyal. He's loyal.
Yeah.
The balance is always the hardest thing.
It's truly loyal.
Yeah.
So it's just degrees of dickheadedness, isn't it, really?
Yeah, then there's the fine line where you transfer from dickhead to asshole.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference, dickhead to cunt? the level to be a cunt. I don't know. For an English person, it's different. What's it like for a Canadian?
I can tell you. A dickhead is the kind of person. A dickhead is sometimes that's a temporary dick, right? It's there, and then it might be there today, gone tomorrow, depending on the situation. Let's go through the levels, okay? An arsehole is somebody. It's when it becomes a chronic dick situation, okay? Mm-hmm. So you have developed a habit pattern of being a dickhead. You are now an asshole. You're projecting out and you're internalizing in, okay? You reach the level of cunt when it becomes an acute and chronic at the same time level, where you are just out there doing dick shit, okay?
And taking pleasure from it.
Right.
Yes.
You're fucking yourself. You're fucking everybody else over. You are a see you next Tuesday. You absolutely are. And disclaimer, this has nothing to do with aspersions on the female gender or anything like that. I'm sorry, but see you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday, that person. When it is that you reach that level, your dickhead is you. It has become you and pushed you aside. And then you don't even want to reclaim the old you. You know who that happens to? It happens to people who are doormats for people. Okay? And so you're a doormat for people all your life, right? The temporary dickhead comes and you may be in a situation and says, get out of that situation now. Okay? And you say, okay, no, I'm not getting out of that situation. And then the dickhead says, you know what? I'm going to just take you out of that situation. So the dickhead comes in and says, F you everybody, right? Takes you out of the situation. But then you're hurt because you came out of the situation. And so you're hurt and you realize I have to change, which means that I need to imbibe this dickhead and let him rule me a little bit more, right? So after about a year, this dick is ruling you, but your life becomes more peaceful because everybody running away from you. You're an asshole.
So the dick becomes the dominatrix.
Correct. And so the dick realizes, oh, I've gotten some peace out of this whole asshole behavior. So let me step that up a little bit, okay? Right? Everybody I meet is going to get a piece of this dick.
Well, it's like
everybody I meet is going to get a piece of this dick, and you just everybody. Doesn't matter that somebody can be. Here's your Starbucks coffee, sir. F you, give me that. Right? You are a cunt.
Well, that's what Andrew said earlier. When the dick becomes feral, when it becomes wild, and you see that people in the coffee queue or people in the stores where you just know that their dick has come completely feral, and you can hear it literally minutes away, like them shouting and screaming, like, "Oh, here we go! Here's a cunt."
Then you become a Karen. That's what happens.
Yes.
That's what happens. You become a Karen.
Yeah. So go ahead, Andrew.
We'll have to go back and count the number of double entendres that we've had for this show. We're breaking double entendre records here. Let me tell you.
This show might get a strike.
I don't care.
It's the end of the year.
It's the end of the year, exactly.
They can be dickheads.
We're relaxed.
So how do we cure dickheadedness?
Well, do we need to cure it?
Well, we need to have some kind of we need to have some kind of climax to this situation. Sorry, that you could add that one, Andrew. Right? We need to have some kind of climax to this situation.
We got to allow it
for the audience members to go away feeling blue.
So that's it. We got to allow it to become a balanced dick without getting blue balls or without getting overused. So it's like a normal functioning dick.
Or having premature diculation.
Like
it just comes out early.
So my first suggestion is to always assess the situation that you're in before when your dick. I consider it like a holy pause. A situation presents itself where dickheadedness is important or is going to rear its head. Oh my God. Right? What the dickhead does is go to rear its head. And you take the holy pause. You say, inhale. Let's assess the situation. 10 seconds. Breathe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you look at the situation and see whether the dick is necessary in this situation. Right? If it is necessary, then by all means, roll it out. Roll out the dick.
Yeah, so it's knowing when to use the dick, and that really is what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah. These are all teachings of polarity, really.
Yep.
Sure.
When you need the polarity and when you don't.
But different shorter scales of polarity. It's not the extremities of some of the crazy levels of polarity we're talking about in other shows. These are the subtle levels of half note, quarter note changes in tone and an impression of an energy that can override inner and outer dialogue. How many times have we said something we thought we were saying in our mouth, but we're saying out loud? Everyone has it happen all the time. Okay? What makes inner dialogue come outer dialogue? What gives the dick the power to be the dick? Okay? Because we don't have the other side of the metaphor of the dick, the vagina. Okay? Male and females can be dicks. Okay? So if there's no counter to it, what do we have to create to deal with it?
I think it may have something to do with the integration, though, Andrew. Right? Because the truth of the matter is the dick is a necessary thing. Right? That came out badly, but you know what I mean? The dick is a necessary thing. It is necessary. And so without your dick, you are dickless. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Without your dick, you are dickless. And being dickless is never a good thing. It's a lot worse than being a dick, actually. Because a dickless wonder is like a eunuch to the self. Okay? So I suspect the answer lies in integration, right? And the problem with integration is that you need a situation for it to come out so that you can integrate it, right? But that's why the holy pause is important. Stop. I need to integrate this, right?
Or become a eunuch.
Yes.
Well, a lot of people have choice, don't they? And they don't realize they have choice. And like Andrew said, it overrides the body. And it's about how you can stop allowing that overriding of the body with the dick taking charge when it doesn't need to take charge. And that's something which has been hard for me, is having to deal with a feral cat at times, where I'm like, right, I feel like I don't have a choice here. And it's about how can you get yourself into that choice mode of taming it a little bit, giving it the snip. Just so it is there, but you can't, it doesn't control you as much as it did before.
Yeah, what snip are you talking about?
Big
you need to be clear.
But I mean, there are times when you are. Well, I've been aware that something I'm going to say is either controversial or is a bit of a dickhead thing to say. And I do allow myself to say it, but I now am looking back. I don't know whether that is the dickhead completely taken over, or whether in that short amount of time I'm consciously aware of it and have made the decision to allow that part of me to speak. How do we know that? Because that all happens so quickly.
That's why you need to pause and wait for the exchange to happen.
So generally, if it's straight out there, then it's your dickhead speaking, isn't it?
Yes,
because it's not a measured response.
Yes, because you could develop dick Tourette's.
Well, I guess this is why mindfulness is so important, and meditation and stuff, because clearly you'll be able to cut down as much dick, from doing those things.
What's the snipping and the cutting? What's the snipping and the cutting? We need to talk about this, right?
Just clear the mind, clear the dick.
I think the reason why we have an inner dickhead is a lesson of integration. A lot of the times, a lot of people have trouble integrating it, and I think the reason why people have trouble integrating it is because they judge the dick. They literally become judgy dicks. Okay?
Well,
And
that's
so,
what
go ahead.
that's what I had yesterday, and Andrew informed me, which made perfect sense. Is I give my dick too much power, like you give, and I was like, "Holy shit, I do!" So I'm like, yeah, I'm literally giving too much power away to this dick.
Don't judge the dick part of yourself. Integrate it, because if you judge it, that means that you want to push it away, right?
So is it the size of the dick that makes a difference?
No, it's how much power it has over you, isn't it?
Yeah.
This conversation has gone way down.
I've been trying to figure out how to get that line in there.
Rolling downhill. This conversation has gone way downhill. Look, honestly,
How it's used.
I think the size has something to do with it, Andrew, because people can overdick themselves. Okay?
Okay.
So let's say this a situation comes that requires a little bit of dick, a small one.
Mm-hmm.
They go out with the right. They go out with the whole. They go out with the whole 12-inch, like I'm gonna dick everything in existence, kind of, and like I'm going to dick the whole of creation, right? So like, let the whole of creation fall at my dick. I think that a whole bunch of them, right? I think it depends on the size of the dick, because honestly speaking, and then some people do the opposite as well. So I think it's easy to integrate a smaller size dick, but in certain situations, the big dick thing is important, especially when you're dealing with family. All right,
Yeah,
because they're the
big
closest
dick
to you.
family members. Yeah, the swinging big dick family members who are
Correct.
all constantly swinging their dick around. Yeah.
Yeah. And then yours has to come out. It does, or else you're not going to be free. You're not going to be free. Like,
So-
go ahead.
So, ego versus big dick. Fine line. Let's talk about the dick and what we've been talking about, and eat pure ego. What's the big difference between them?
I would think that ego, when you're using it in the form of a kind of pride situation, is a trigger for dickness. Okay.
Okay.
Dickness on its own needs a stimulant. You're not gonna have a dick if you don't have anything to,
It needs a hand job.
The ego, the hand.
You don't have an occasion to rise to, right? You're not gonna have that if you don't have an occasion to rise to. But an ego is one of the things that will rise, one of these occasions when it is triggered, that will create that dick situation.
The BDSM of dickheadedness. It's the odd arousal, because ego does arouse dickheadedness.
Correct, it does.
So when the ego is challenged.
But look at what we're doing here as an example. There are going to be people in the spiritual community that are watching this broadcast that are going to say, look at these people talking about dick. And we want to tell you guys are dickheads before you even watch it. You guys are dickheads. We want to tell you guys that, because there are going to be people in the spiritual community that are going to be judging that we're talking about phalluses and dicks for an entire hour so far. And I want to say that dickhead part of yourselves is coming from ego, because you're repressed. So Andrew, your point is very well taken. It stimulates a situation. We will be stimulating situations in people, whether they realize it or not. We may not arouse you in one sense, but we're going to arouse you in another sense. Either which way, you're going to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, so they're looking to be offended, really.
Correct.
Which is an ego response, isn't it?
That's when their dickhead and their ego are one and the same. They've integrated with each other.
Yep.
They're in bed with each other.
So what are the different types of dickheads out there? I suppose there's many, isn't there? But
okay, there's the comical dickhead that turns everything into a joke, no matter how offensive it is, and then goes, "I'm sorry, I was joking," even though they meant every word of it.
Yes.
Yeah, they meant every word of it.
Yeah.
And then there's just your dickhead joker that doesn't know timing, and then there's your just plain dickhead who uses subject matter to beat people up.
The gaslighting dickhead. Don't forget that.
Gaslighter. Yep. My dick is bigger than yours. That's another one. I'm better than you in anything that you do.
Yes. The dickhead who doesn't listen at all to anything you say, and you have a conversation with them, and it's just go through them. That's a common one.
There's the loud dickhead, isn't there? The one that has to be heard, forcing opinions. So that's the what's that? The conversational terrorist dickhead.
What about the passive aggressive dick?
Well, you get that guy who always. I remember when I used to go out all those years ago, there was always those same people who got into bar fights. Those dickheads, the same people every time. Doesn't matter where you are, those people will find a fight. And it's just like, it's the regular dickheads of the bar.
There's an infinite amount of dickheadedness.
Yeah.
I have to be a dick right now. I have to pull out of the show. Because I have a 2:30 appointment, so I'm going to have to pull out and leave you guys.
Well, David, thank you for blessing us with your dickheadedness.
Yes. And I pray you guys finish.
We will make sure it's a good orgasmic dick finish.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
David. Cheers.
Take it easy, David. Okay. You were 3 dickheads or 4 dickheads. Now there are 3.
That's right.
So let's go into arrogance. A lot of dickheads are arrogant. What's the difference between arrogant and ego?
I'd say it's one of the same. Arrogance is ego. It has to be, surely.
Well, there's an entitlement with arrogance, isn't there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's arrogance that has vanity behind it too.
Yeah.
Okay. All different levels of the ego's expression. So when the dickhead and the ego come together, okay, is it a whole new creation? Is it a super ego?
Wow. Yeah, it is. It really
okay. It is.
Yes, it is.
Super creation. Okay. We've all met super dickheads, super egotistical people, narcissistic egotistical people. Can we as healers truly help a person who's fully gone down the dark path of narcissism?
I'd say
we all want to say yes. The answer is no.
Yeah.
We individually can't. It is only their journey that will lessen its expression through their daily process. It will almost always continue to be a part of them. It's a matter, is it level 10 arrogant dickheadedness, or can they learn to mute it down to level 1 or 2?
I've had that. Go ahead, Laura.
So I was just going to ask a question. Is this because the level of childhood trauma is so deep?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Their fundamental neural pathways are that.
Yeah. Okay. I've had experience with that with someone I played games with, and he was such a narcissist, and I kept having to block him for a while from games. And I'm a year later, I'm like, you know what? It's near Christmas. I'm going to play a game with him. And after literally 2 minutes, straight away, nothing's changed. Fast forward 8 years on, the same person. And it's holy shit, you're never going to fucking change, ever.
Yeah.
It's ingrained, that complete narcissism, dickhead, everything embroiled in one is just, it's like there's no way out for it.
It's interesting what Trent says in the chat about they have to hit complete rock bottom first. And just in what I've seen, they can even be in denial about that, about hitting rock
How
bottom.
does a narcissist hit rock bottom? Good, very good statement and question. Okay, I will make this statement: they don't know they've hit rock bottom. Okay, it's only when everything they do fails with complete and utter misery, where they can gain no energy from others. They've totally alienated everything. They've lost all their social skills where no one wants to be around them. That is the beginning of rock bottom. Might be within a mile or two. Okay, but their ego will constantly defend, and then they go online. And as long as they're online, they can find somebody to get power over somehow, some way. Okay, so I can honestly say, in this modern society, it's a absolutely terrific challenge, terrible challenge for those that are in there to get that type of help, to actually hit rock bottom, because there are so many avenues of abuse out there that don't require a physical presence.
And you get a lot of narcissism connected to addiction, don't you? Where people just
Absolutely.
that's
the nature of addiction is narcissism.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay,
Yeah.
But that doesn't make an addicted person a narcissist. An addicted person can stop being addicted and not remain a narcissist. Most true narcissists have a early childhood trauma that has driven them to that out of a karmic expression, or cultural, or religious, or family, etc.
And what about sociopaths then with the inner dickheads? Would that be the
They don't
same?
have sociopaths. Don't have emotions.
That's what I mean.
Don't have the quality of emotions like normal people do.
Yeah, very strange sociopaths.
Okay.
And so, why is that? Is it again just trauma? Is being a sociopath, lack of emotions, and not wanting to?
So, without overusing the word trauma and making it the blame all of everything, a sociopath is developed. It's not instantly created. Okay. The journey to being a sociopath is a disconnection from existing neural pathways and creating new neural pathways that have empathy. So they will cut off the journey of having any form of empathy for anyone. And once there's no sensory input of empathy, the journey to being a sociopath is complete. Okay? It's the sensory input from ourselves and others. That's what makes the sociopath. Now, there are high-functioning sociopaths who mimic emotions and mimic feelings, and they've learned how to operate in it, and they have high narcissistic tendencies, but they're not really emotion-based people. And unfortunately, a lot of the CEOs in our corporate world are full-on sociopaths.
I found that, and I don't know if this is just me, but I've watched a lot of people who, do rock climbing without like strings and harnesses and stuff. Yep. And 9 times out of 10, as I listen to them and watch the documentaries about them, they remind me of sociopaths. They have and I'm like, wow, he's got a wife, but you can tell he's completely switched off emotionally to her. Yeah. Like she's not there. And I'm like,
because if he did, he would fall.
Yes, there we go.
He did, he would fall.
Yeah.
Now you're realizing adrenaline junkie. That's what that person is, an adrenaline junkie. So when I'm referring to CEO, I'm not talking to the average CEO. I'm talking the Wall Street big banker CEOs who will screw over a million people out of all their money and never go to jail because they know they can buy themselves out of jail. Okay, I'm referring. Those are the sociopaths, high-functioning sociopaths who have become completely apathetic and emotionless to the things that they do that affect others.
The thing about the inner dickhead, it has some sort of emotion, though, doesn't it? There's emotion
Sure, it
behind
still
it.
allows emotions, and in fact, the inner dickhead thrives on emotion.
That's the fuel, I guess.
Yeah, thrives on it. It needs it.
Mm.
Like your do-do-doer / dickhead. What did it thrive on? From
What are you doing? Yeah.
You doing? And as long
Yeah.
as you did, it was empowered. And
Yeah.
once you stopped doing, what happened?
It didn't know what to do.
It didn't know what to do.
Then you realise, look, the best one was when Laura said, "I've got so much time on my hands now. I don't realise how easy. Like I'm so relaxed.
Yeah, and everything
Like,
just
long
happens.
days."
Yes, and things still happen and still get done, and yeah. Yeah, I sorted out that dickhead. But then again, like you were saying, it was useful to get things organised when they needed to be done.
Right.
So again, it's harnessing or working with that dickhead aspect. You know, co-creating with it to get the good outcome rather than allowing to take over.
That's right.
And that could be with anybody in their with their dickhead. And I think the clues in like what we titled this, isn't it? Being conscious of the inner dickhead. Once you're conscious of it, then it's not going to run amok, is it? Unless you allow it.
Well, unless you're spineless.
Well, yeah.
You can observe it all the time,
allowed,
but not doing anything about it. And unfortunately, a lot of people are stuck there with their inner dickhead, who takes over their inner dialogue far too often, and they don't have a spine enough to stop it. They become invertebrate.
If you're conscious of something, then that's inherent responsibility comes with that, doesn't it?
That comes with responsibility, yeah.
So what happens to if you have like a big dick until you die? What happens to that big dick when you cross over?
That's a big dick life review.
Is that dick still with you, or does that dick go right? I'm bouncing.
Part of life review is they put you in the shoes of others, literally. What it was like to see you from other perspectives.
Wow.
And that's a death of an ego. That type of life review is a necessary ego death, like an ayahuasca. You go through an ego death before you can have the grand enlightenment. If your ego is a run amok in your life already. There are a lot of people who have ayahuasca journeys who don't have ego deaths because the ego never truly ran their whole life.
Would that be a good self-practice, Andrew, to try and see how you are perceived by other people?
Sure, but most people can't actually do it.
No.
Okay? Can't actually put yourself in a completely neutral observation from another person's perspective. Neutralizing yourself and putting yourself empathetically in their shoes with their sensory input. That's why we have the unentangled observer, which is a challenge to learn and make it a part of your bigger process.
Yeah, and that's part of the eagle eye view teachings as well, isn't it?
That's right.
And that is, and I guess if you know, if you can do that, then that's a bit like reading the Akashic records, isn't it? Because you're getting into a neutral enough state.
Exactly. You're neutralizing emotions and attachments with such an effective effort that you can go through a cycle of reading and having an impression of the records that maintains some type of memory. A lot of people can read the records, but they have they can't maintain an accurate memory of it.
What about reading your own records then, Andrew? Is that a different state of like? Because I remember you talked about it a few times, saying it was harder.
It's harder for anyone to read their own records because how do you just completely neutralize your own self journey?
Yeah.
Well, that's the nature of the sacred neutral teacher inside yourself. You challenge yourself on that on a regular basis, and you build up that true neutrality muscle so that I can delve into my own records and get the voice of the Akashic record, which is me, the higher soul, speaking to me in in metaphor and concepts and visionary processes that create a pattern to understand.
So what is the dickhead an offshoot of the ego, like we were talking about? Is it another light?
No, it's a
light
pre-ego
body.
thing. It's a pre-ego thing.
Pre-ego, okay.
Pre-ego. It can easily be integrated into the ego,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a survival mechanism. It's more of a thrival tool. It's not a survival. It can be a survival too. I just created a word up, thrival.
Yeah.
Okay. In Dale's example, without that, he wouldn't be thriving the way he is today. The same with me and you, Laura. We needed that to make us into the state of thriving and accepting thriving as a state of essence and not a lack state.
Yeah. So it's something we need, but we need also to be consciously aware of where we can abuse it or where it can take over. Yeah.
Yep.
So is it a light body aspect of ourselves?
Yeah, it is a light body. Well, have we had enough dick talk?
I'm all dicked out.
Yeah, it's a really, yeah.
What a show! Like,
Yeah.
I love this shit. It's so good. A conversation on the phone with you, Andrew. Just like, right, fuck it, let's do a show.
Let's do it.
And this show has been so informative and so some of the teachings and wow, what a show! Yeah. What a fun show!
So let's call it. Let's all be dicks and call it an end to a show.
Yes.
Laura, how can people get hold of you?
Laura2feathers@gmail.com with the number 2. Still a couple of spaces left for combined healing in New York, starting the 15th of January. And if you'd like me to take you to your ancestral fire and meet your ancestors, please get hold of me. I think, it's Dale back next Sunday, and I'll be the Sunday after with prayers again, Sunday prayer service.
Dale Dick Tobin, people get a hold of you.
So if you want help with the inner dick, head over to daletobin.com if you'd like psychic surgery treatments. As well, coming in January, I'll be doing past life regression training for January. So if you would like one-to-one past life regression training, drop me a message. Also, I'll be doing a new show this coming Sunday called The Dreaming Lodge, which will be once every 2 weeks. So thank you everyone for the dicking. Good night.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, you know who I am. You go to my website, andrewbartzis.com. We got a whole bunch of new products out there. The Bootcamp Basics is out there. For those of you who want to start your new year right, the Bootcamp Basics is for you. Also have an advanced light language product for those that want to begin practicing it. Up in that top left corner is the QR code to scan that. You can also book a session with me. We have a new automated booking system. All right, everybody, we will be back tomorrow for a Friday night game stream, and then back on Tuesday with another Talking Dick All right, Jill, take us away.